But we go from that to Miz talking backstage to Bad News Barrett.
This was so incredibly weird.
Yeah, he asks Barrett to knock Damien Sandow a few pegs tonight and show him some tough love. In return, Miz will handle Dean Ambrose. Barrett tells Miz to have his people call Barrett's people, and he will see him out there. I agree with you. I don't even know why an arrangement of this sort needed to be made. What did he think? The Bad News Barrett was just going to lay down for Mizdow?
I mean, if anything, it makes Miz look like even more of a heel, because wasn't there like a sort of a mutual understanding here where Barrett would do his job and teach Mizdow a lesson, and then the Miz would keep an eye out for Ambrose?
Yeah.
Well, that just makes Miz look like a super douche.
Well, I mean,
if anything, it almost makes Barrett look like a sympathetic babyface.
I mean, we already kind of knew, though, that Miz was a super douche, so I guess it was the confirmation that we were all longing for.
I mean, is this leading to another Miz main event at WrestleMania? Because I don't know if I'm on board for that.
I highly doubt it.
I'm frankly completely shocked that I managed to get through that entire line without cracking up.
I know, right? Yeah, they were talking about stunt doubles and actors lately. You might be in line for something, kid.
Right?
But after that...
Let me see if I can do one more. Are you ready?
All right.
The Miz is so talented. I can't do it.
That lasted about all of 5 seconds. But then we go to Damien Mizdow versus Bad News Barrett. I will say this. Like, I'm liking the stuff that they're doing, and Miz, I think, is doing the best job he can, given all the material and everything, to really heal it up, because every time, like, Mizdow went on offense, he had a bell this week, and he was ringing it, bell means stop, bell means stop. Oh, God,
And you know what, though? Here's my thing. It's starting to get to a point where the Miz is just such an intolerable douchebag. I don't even hate him anymore. I just tune the TV out when he's on.
Yeah, I don't know how many people, I mean, I would imagine that people share your sentiments. It's just, I never saw people, like, where I was watching it say, I've got the TV on mute or whatever. I just think people are waiting for Sandow to pop him in the mouth. And I'm hoping that gets a big pop. But we'll have to wait and see, because that has not come yet. He, had Sandow, like, buff out his shoe, because apparently it got, like, a scuff mark on it, and all this stuff. And he was about to go for the skull-crushing finale with Sandow. And Miz, he said, hey, wait, I've got a spot on my glasses. So he lets go of the hold. He checks on him. And then Miz says, oh, well, no, I got it out. It was just a hair. Never mind.
Of course, he waited until Barrett started winding up his arm.
Exactly, for that bullhammer elbow.
Yeah.
And he does connect with it, and he pins in for the win. After the match, Dean Ambrose just runs in, and Miz immediately, like, shoots his hands up, like, hey, I don't want none of this, and he leaves, so way to hold up your end of the bargain, douche muffin. And poor Barrett gets sent into the ring post, that injured shoulder that commentary made note of, and then Ambrose zip-tied Barrett's hands around the ring post, and he pretty much forges Barrett's signature on the contract. So, you committed a very public act of over 4 million viewers of forgery.
Way to go, Dean.
Yeah, prison time.
I guess his character isn't meant to be the smartest.
I guess not. I mean, they do say he's unhinged. I guess, unhinged and intelligence, I don't know.
Just the craziest, right?
I mean, David Otunga is a thing. Maybe he'll find a way into this on SmackDown or something. I don't freaking know.
David Otunga.
Actually, my client was in perfect right to forge that signature, because Barrett should have given him the title opportunity anyway, per WWE regulation of when you pin a champion in a non-title match. Yeah, legalese for the win!
The entire point of that contract was exclusively for show. It never had to be signed in the first place.
Take a sip from coffee mug and leaves.
Suck my bow tie.
And the loudest pop from me of the night doesn't even come from the program.
Dude, you die every time I say that.
Dude, it's the delivery, and I haven't heard you say it in a while, because I was hoping you'd say it, and of course you had no reason to, at the Rumble, because we thought Otunga may make, like, a surprise return, because we were hearing stuff. And then,
so it was overdue.
It was overdue, and your delivery was so on point. His legal streak is like the new undefeated streak, because apparently Otunga's never lost a case, so new Undertaker in this courtroom, bitches, deal with it. And then I unfortunately have to deal with this because we get Jimmy Uso and Naomi versus Tyson Kidd and Natalya.
Hey, let's not take anything away from this segment. This was a solid match.
It was.
Especially the women.
Yeah, I do have to say, when Naomi and Natalya were in there, it was solid, and I like the story that it was telling because you could clearly see the differences in the relationships. Jimmy Uso and Naomi, very communicative, very loving of each other. Tyson, obviously far more standoffish, per his character. But, Kid and Jimmy start off. Kid, takes him down to the floor, and Natalya gets tagged in, and so Naomi must come in per mixed tag rules. They go at it a little bit with leg headlocks, scissor headlocks, but they keep breaking them, and so they're at a standstill. I think at this point, Kid comes back in, and he slaps Jimmy, but it doesn't faze him, and he quickly tags Natalya back in, and so Naomi comes back in, and they start going at it, and Natalya gets her kick to the back of the head and then a drop kick to the front of the face. She seems like she's going to go for a sharpshooter. Well, actually, before that, she asks Kid if she wants a tag. Kid says no, he doesn't. So then she tries going for the sharpshooter. Naomi kicks it off. And then I think this is where they have their pinning sequence. They each try and counter each other's roll-ups. But then finally, Naomi got a counter where she gets the 3 count. So, of course, Natalya has to fail and eat the pin.
And, of course, a compelling Divas match ends in a freaking roll-up.
Roll-up of death, man. Every time. Just a different kind of variation this time.
Miss roll-up, miss roll-up, miss roll-up, miss roll-up.
But after the match, Cesaro starts to look like he's going to lay into Natalya, but then Kid stops him just so he can have the privilege of getting upset with Natalya. And he just, reams into her like, how could you screw that up? And he actually shows her, like, I guess pantomiming in a way, how to do the sharpshooter. I love Tyson Kidd so much.
Yeah, he's awesome.
The only good thing about all of this, and dare I say, even though it is going to make me cringe a little, Total Divas, is that we get Kid on Raw more regularly, and I guess SmackDown when Team Uppercats appear. And we still get him on NXT every now and again, so his brilliance is just everywhere, and I love him, Uncle. So there you go.
Yeah, it's awesome that he's finally getting TV time. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely, and that's the only way you do have to put it, because now it's main event time. Daniel Bryan versus The Big Show. We see Roman Reigns making his way through the crowd. He's going to have a nice ringside seat for Daniel Bryan's matchup, much like Bryan did earlier. And, what can you really say about this match, Ashton? I mean, it really was that kind of David versus Goliath kind of booking. Bryan had to resort to an offense that would kind of, take Big Show down. He would try stuff in the early going. Like, there was one point that stands out in my mind. He did, like, a kick to the leg and then chop to the chest kind of combo. But then Big Show kind of reversed it, and he just nailed one chop, and it sent Bryan to the floor. So, obviously, they were showing the disparities in strength and size, playing up that whole angle. At one point, Bryan gets a sleeper hold on the Big Show, and I was really hoping, because I remember you mentioned it, I was going to call to you excitedly, oh, Ashton, they may do the arm thing, but that seems, A, more of a babyface thing anyway, when babyfaces are in the hold, and B, they didn't end up doing it anyway, so that's all pointless. But all the while, Bryan's got Show in this hold, and seeming like he's going to get Show to pass out. Reigns is signing autographs. So now he's kind of doing his little thing here. Big Show, throws Bryan off. Bryan goes back to the chest kicks, but then, Show caught him, does a chop. So again, all this stuff, again, can Bryan overcome the size and the power of the Big Show? And it seems like he's about to, because he, gets Big Show down, I think, with a kick to the head, and then he goes to the top rope. He's about to nail his double drop kick, and Reigns comes in and he hits the Superman punch on the Big Show, causing the disqualification. So Big Show actually wins this match. Here I'm thinking that both Reigns and Bryan are going to win their matches tonight, but Reigns ends up winning his match, and Bryan gets cost his match. So very interesting. So Show gets the DQ win.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, is anyone really surprised? I mean, the guy couldn't even get May 19th right.
That is true. That is true.
And he didn't really win this match. He just got Daniel Bryan disqualified.
Yeah, but he's smiling about that. He's proud of himself. He's like, yeah.
Dude, that facial expression that he made on his way up the ramp reminded me so much of Kenny Omega.
Right, yeah.
He just had this ridiculous, like, freaking anime bad guy grin on his face. Like, he just blew up the planet that you were born on, and he's super happy about it.
Yeah, pretty much, more or less. Like we've been saying, Big Show's work recently just filling Mark Henry's void, and it feels good though. I didn't think Big Show would do this well. Nothing will ever compare to heel Mark Henry, mind you, but it's a nice substitute given the circumstances. So Bryan is just looking pissed, like, oh hell no, you did not just stick your nose in another matchup of mine. And I guess Reigns must have been totally aloof to the fact that, hey, Bryan's on the top rope. He does stuff off the top rope. Maybe I should have done something about that. But no, he turns around and he eats the drop kick from Bryan that was intended for Big Show. But here's the thing. Reigns practically no-sold it. And I loved it, though. Like, I'm saying that in a positive way. He just looks annoyed like, this bitch. How many times do I gotta tell you? You don't want none of this?
Somebody tell you to stop doing that flat back shit since you hurt your neck.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was that versus get your damn hand off
my shoulder. Yes.
The battle of the indignancy. Who will come out on top? So,
I'll tell you who comes out on top. Roman Reigns. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Daniel Bryan. He's irrelevant.
Oh, God, he said it. He said the line. Oh, God. But, yeah, oh, my God, I can't believe my voice went that high.
Listen back to your reactions to the triple threat with Seth Rollins. Your voice.
Yeah, I know. Oh, my God, that was legends, Dennis. I pulled a super boo and I broke the fabric of space and time. But, yeah, this was the brawl segment that I was referring to that I think was really well done here, because these guys went everywhere. Really fighting it out. Yeah, Reigns, throwing Bryan in the security barricade, seeming like he was really overpowering him in parts. I mean, it was just a scuffle that went all over the place. Finally, it gets broken up after like a lot of crazy stuff. They seem like they're going to shake hands, make peace. And they do, but it's very quick, very just almost like disgusted, like, oh, I'm only doing this because I have to, not because I respect you, sort of deal. And then seconds later, they go right back at it. It spills over to the announce table in the timekeeper's area. And for as much as we dump on JBL, I have to give him credit here because he made this fight seem like a big deal, because apparently at one point Reigns scored a forearm and JBL sold the crap out of it. Like, you would have thought it was an Ali right hand. How impactful that forearm was, at least in JBL's eyes. And they're just still fighting. Bryan got a steel chair at one point, which that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Bryan going for a steel chair in what should be like a fisticuffs kind of fight between two guys wanting to go to WrestleMania, and he has to use a foreign object to get the upper hand on Reigns. I mean, maybe
Roman Reigns no-sold.
Exactly. I mean, he no-sold it, and maybe I'm just looking into things too deeply, but I did think that was interesting that this Bryan is supposedly this big.
No, see, I think it is really, you're looking into it too deeply, because that's like all the same people that were talking about how, Bryan's being a real dick on SmackDown, but Reigns has his moments of being a real dick too. Neither one of them is turning heel. They're just really, really salty at each other, and I think that's really just what it comes down. It's face versus face, but both guys are kind of bringing out the worst in each other from a personality standpoint, while bringing out the best in each other from an in-ring standpoint.
And I will say that's a nice route to take when you're dealing with the conundrum of putting two faces against each other.
Yeah.
It's okay, we'll do this, but we'll have these forces be, so polarizing that, as you said, they'll bring out the worst in each other. So I think that's a nice way to go about it. Ultimately, I was thinking that the fight was going to end with Bryan getting a knee to Reigns, because Reigns had speared him on the last Raw, so I thought we'd be pretty even keel. But it wasn't. It was pretty much a standoff. But Reigns, you could see, like, one of the final camera shots before he closed, he had a bloody mouth, pretty bad it seemed like to me. So, yeah, he got, I guess, opened up in the mouth. But a really great brawling segment. It actually did garner more interest for me for their matchup at Fastlane. I'm looking forward to it a bit more than I was.
You and everyone else, dude. You and everyone else. Because here's the thing. Everybody is talking about that final segment. I mean, whether they're talking about the brawl or complaining about Reigns no-selling or just marking out because Norman Smiley was on WWE television, everybody is talking about that final segment. So there is a ton of interest going into their match at Fastlane. So the WWE, I mean, say what you want about the quality of the show tonight, say what you want about the crappy zooms during certain sequences, say what you want about certain, I don't even know what anymore. But at the end of the day, they did their job tonight, and they generated a ton of interest for their pay-per-view, and this is a go-home show, so job well done.
Absolutely. I think you're really on point there. I really have no contentions with what you just said. In fact, I think that's a good closing note, at least for this segment. So unless you have anything else you want to say, we can transition right into our next segment.